optimism that when next cabinet meets in Kanilai, they will be able to report on progress on the agenda and goals set for them. As the nerve center of government, Vice President Jaisidi said the officials should be able to complement the efforts of His Excellency in bettering the lots of Gambians.
This is the structure that makes things happen. In other words, the delivery of services is largely dependent on this body here. If we succeed, services would be delivered to the expectations of Gambian people. If we fail, may God forbid, that's not an option, because that's what the president always says. But this is the 5th cabinet retreat, and so far so good. We have made a lot of progress because we've all been in those retreats, and at least most of us have been. And anytime we report on the achievements that we have made in our different sectors, we show progress. Yes, I'm representing His Excellency the President, but I also want to take this opportunity, of course, to thank His Excellency the President for being that good captain of this ship. Because really, because of his guidance, able guidance and leadership, and his clear flight plan, as he always says, because he's the pilot, if it's a plane, and he's the captain, if it is a ship.
Just like the Secretary General, C2 urged the officials to transmit the spirit of the session to their respective ministries to ensure that public servants deliver as expected. With that, the session came to an end, but not without a moment to reflect on the lighter part of the deliberations.
The retreat engenders or encourages, improves unity amongst us, encourages teamwork and a sense of belongingness to one and the same family, a cherished objective of His Excellency President Yahya Jammeh.
A communique has also been issued underlining key recommendations and conclusions of the meeting, with the President approving some renowned ones on the spot. Abdunjai, GRTS.
Members of the local anti-tobacco coalition and their partners have been devising means of scaling up their no-tobacco activities. The latest effort took the form of a 2-day interface called by the African Network for Information and Action Against Drugs Trade, the Gambia, and other stakeholder organizations. Fatou Jassy reports.
In a view of the conflict of interest that existed between the tobacco industry, revenue authorities and public health authorities, there is need for collaborative efforts to fully implement the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. In a bid to curb diseases caused by tobacco consumption, such as heart diseases, cancer, diabetes, and respiratory illness that account for millions of deaths the world over. It is against this backdrop that RAID the Gambia, in collaboration with the African Tobacco Control Consortium, invited other stakeholders to this 2-day forum for discussions on the way forward with regard to the formulation of strategies capable of controlling tobacco consumption in the country.
Our research revealed that most of young people in this country who are using drugs have started with the cigarette smoking. That's why my agency decided in our technical team level with our senior staffs, if RAID are not working very hard to see to it that cigarette smoking are reduced in this country, we cannot achieve our prevention and education objective. Because young people, we are working with them. Before they use drug and substance, they start with cigarette. We all aware. Some of the young people in this country started cigarette smoking at the age of 7, 8 years. We have seen that in various communities in this country. That's why, so we work with the Ministry of Health to make sure that we make our effort on demand reduction on cigarette. The impact of our agency to work with the Ministry of Health and WHO with other stakeholders to fully implement WHO FTCT in this country. Ministry of Health cannot do it alone.
Mamadou Gassama of the WHO Banjul office lamented on what he called the sad trend in developing countries with regard to tobacco consumption.
Developed countries where tobacco manufacturers are based are getting, we are getting fewer people smoking. This is a dilemma. So something must be fundamentally wrong. And of course, we all know that they have not used magic to curtail the number of people smoking. They have used evidence, and have also they've used those evidence in a very proper way, appropriately. They've used the evidence to take action. So the evidence is there. So why not? The same evidence is available. So you still ask yourself in the developing world, why are we not being serious with this?
Mamadou Bamba Sanyang of the Africa Tobacco Control Consortium said his organization comprises 6 public health organizations that focus on means of preventing what he called a tobacco epidemic in Africa. Adding the coalition runs tobacco control campaigns in the Gambia, Senegal and Togo.
The overall goal of the project is to accelerate the implementation of FTCC in the 3 selected countries. More specifically, the project aims to position FCTC implementation as a critical strategy to address the rising health and economic burden of non-communicable disease in the African region.
Mamadou Njai, Director of Health Promotion and Education, Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, said the health of the nation is first priority of the government of the day.
The Gambia introduced the Prohibition of Smoking in Public Places Act in 1998, which was endorsed by His Excellency on the 23rd September 1998. And that also includes a person who contravenes a provision of this act commits an offense and is liable to, on conviction, to a fine not exceeding $500 and not less than $200, or a term of imprisonment of not more than 3 months, or to both fine and imprisonment.
Njai also said the desire to have a healthy population for high socio-economic development and growth can only be realized according to health officials if non-communicable diseases and their risk factors such as smoking are controlled. He said the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare will provide the necessary technical and moral support in the implementation of measures designed to control tobacco consumption in the country. The forum is the latest among a raft of measures and activities embarked upon by Raise the Gambia and its partners to develop a campaign mechanism for resource mobilization as part of efforts to control consumption in the Gambia. It is hoped that the activities combined will go a long way towards reducing deaths and diseases associated with tobacco use in the country. For GRTS News, I am Fatou Jassi.
Travel agencies now have the all flair to sell air tickets to government. A media release from the Office of the President states that GIA is no longer the sole provider of air tickets to government officials. The purchasing of air tickets, the release adds, is now open to all agencies and people are free to go for the best deal they can get. The Directorate of Treasury is equally informed of this new development, the dispatch ends. State prosecutors have leveled fresh indictments against the 3 foreign nationals who were earlier convicted and sentenced in the multi-billion-dollar drug case at the Banjul Magistrates Court alongside the suspected Ghanaian drug baron Robert Yao Dankwa. Dankwa was recently extradited to the Gambia by Ghanaian officials to answer 2 charges of drug trafficking. Prosecutors allege that Robert Yao Dankwa and the 3 convicts presently serving 50-year sentences, namely Rudy Rasul Hamed Ghazi, George Sanchez, and Juan Carlos Sanchez, conspired around June 2010 to traffic over 2 tons of cocaine. When the charge was presented to the accused persons in court, both Rudy Ghazi and Juan Carlos Sanchez pleaded not guilty, but the 4th accused, George Sanchez, submitted that he underwent a 2-year trial at the same court, which resulted in his conviction and sentences for similar charges. In response, the DPP, Sid Hadi Bahum, asked for a hearing in answer to the indictments and further requested for an adjournment to advise himself on the issues raised by the 4th accused. Meanwhile, the 1st accused person and suspected Ghanaian drug linchpin, Robert Yao Dankwa, denied the charges preferred against him when he first appeared before the court on May 22nd. The case will resume on the 26th July for continuation. From there, we take our first break. We'll be right back.
Who is